Now, I'm just going to do a little thing about the Vega Plus, or Vega Plus, depending on how you want to call it. I don't know. Vega, who cares anymore? We're not going to get the consoles anyway. Because George hasn't put a video out yet, and I'm just getting crosser reading all the disappointed people online. Now, the original Vega came out, and it did come out. It promised lots of games. Unfortunately, they did say, if we can't find the programmers, we'll make a donation to charity in lieu of royalties. We seem odd because that's not how copyright works, but nevertheless, that's what they did. The device did come out and people went, well, it's a Spectrum joypad. And then there was a bit of a problem afterwards because people complaining about not being paid for royalties for putting the games on the device, perhaps inadequate donations made to charity, allegedly. And also, I believe, some supplier payment problems as well that seem to crop up. And there seem to be lots of legal things going on while the Kickstarter for the Vega Plus was going on. And it almost seemed like there was a possibility they were using money from the Vega Plus thing, crowdfunding, to pay off debts from the Vega. Don't know if that's true or not. That's just a supposition. Now, this whole thing's dragged on for far, far too long. The Vega Plus, as I said at the time, was a completely pointless device because 12 years ago, say, I was walking around with a Nintendo DS with a flash cart on it, with PC Engine, Spectrum, Amstrad, Commodore, Amiga, and what have you games, all on there. The game park existed. Today you can go on eBay and buy any Android device for about £50 and put whatever emulator you like on it. So why on earth would you buy a Spectrum emulator, which can only run Spectrum games, for £100? This seemed like madness. What are you paying for? Some coloured stripes on the front? It's a pointless device. Completely and utterly pointless. It just defies belief. It's like owning an ice cube maker in your fridge, going down to Morrison's and buying bags of ice cubes. Why would you do this? You can have something, you've already got something that can do this, you can do it cheaper. Why are you doing that? I don't know. It's madness. Nothing personal, but I just can't see it, and I said it at the time. Complete lunacy. But anyway, people threw their money at this thing, and surprise, surprise, it still hasn't turned up 2 years later. And, the Vega really didn't meet its... Well, I suppose it kind of did the job, didn't it? But we had all the problems with the Elite keyboard that just turned out to be a Bluetooth keyboard as opposed to a Spectrum. People threw their money at the Elite Bluetooth keyboard. What happened to that? Oh, they're all in the bin or landfill. And this whole RCL thing with all the people directors falling out and one lot going off to make that miniature Commodore 64, which again, pointless. Why do you want that? Sorry, I can't see why you want a Commodore 64 with keys that don't work. Buy a pie, for God's sake. Again, don't take this personally. I just can't see it. A fool in their money. I don't know why people bid on these things. It's oh God. Anyway, so people have thrown money at the Vega. It's a completely useless, pointless device. But anyway, we throw money at it because money. Hey, the entire country could be down the pan this time next year. But who knows? Let's throw money now at something. And I can't see it's just gone on and on and on. And the money from the account seems to have been frittered away by RCL and their shrill Lee Fogarty, the destroyer of World of Spectrum, who claimed, and Lee blocked me on Twitter. He's only got 3 followers anyway. Today, I wasn't following him, by the way, but he claimed he'd seen the Vega in production. The Vega Plus. I've seen the Vega Plus in production. Look at me, I'm Lee Fogarty. And well, they still haven't turned out, have they, mate? How's your funding for World of Spectrum going on? Because of course he's begging for money for World of Spectrum, and meanwhile other people have said if Lee leaves World of Spectrum, we will give World of Spectrum all the hosting it needs for free forever. Well, no brainer. Goodbye, Lee. But no, he's going to cling on like some kind of leech. That's a good word for Lee Fogarty. Leeching off the Spectrum community. So we got all this going on, and this device keeps on getting put back and back and back, and we know it's never going to turn up. RCL just kind of put out an announcement saying the Vega's being shipped next month. You'll be getting our emails soon. Oh, Every time RCL set a deadline, they miss it and then they blame someone else. They blame the haters. They blame not having rights for the games. 1,000 games are going to be on the Vega Plus. Do you have any idea how... And that rings alarm bells, because how long is it going to take to get the rights for 1,000 games? Yeah, surely, you can get the PEGI ratings. I believe that involves recording 5 minutes of video or so, and you can get some chimpanzee to sit there and play the games just to show they're not, offending anyone. They get you your PEGI rating once you've done all that, but that's admin and cost. But then you've got to get licenses for 1,000 games. 1,000 30-year-old games. And do you really think Ultimate, or Microsoft as they are these days, are going to turn around to RCL and go, yeah, you can have the rights to Night Law? Ain't going to happen. Everyone's going to want a little bit of money. 1,000 games. What kind of royalty rate are we talking about here? We know the Oliver Twins on Super Robin Hood, I think they got 50p a copy on Super Robin Hood on a $1.99 game. What kind of royalty are you going to get on a console selling for £100? We've got about £30, £40 hardware cost in there. And you've got 1,000 games, perhaps out of, perhaps you're putting £5 per console aside to pay for 1,000 games. That's not worth anyone's while. This kind of stuff just rings alarm bells, and nobody questioned it. Well, no, people did question it at the time, but got shouted down. And this is the whole thing. This is too good to be true, but shut up. We're going to have our console. We're going to throw money at this console. We're going to take a punt at this console. And we're here today in 2018. This device still hasn't turned up. And Indiegogo, a couple of months ago, set a deadline for this, saying, if they don't deliver by June the 1st, we're going to send the debt collectors in. We get to today, and Indiegogo have gone, oh no, we didn't really mean it. No, we've extended the deadline by 2 weeks, which is the equivalent of that supply teacher at school who would tell you off and threaten all sorts, and then when you did nothing. So more chaos ensues, and nothing ever happens, and they just end up hiding in a cupboard somewhere because having some kind of breakdown. And while RCL run around like kids flinging crap everywhere, while Indiegogo hide in the cupboard just weeping. This whole thing's a mess. No one's going to get their consoles. We know that. But the Spectrum community has got to draw a line under this, and that means being rid of Levy, Suzanne, and the bloke whose name I can't remember, the other guy, and RCL forever. So never blacken our doorstep or any other retro community again. Getting Lee Fogarty's claws out of the #1 Spectrum site, World of Spectrum, because that guy just needs to be paid off and got rid of. Let's have a crowdfunder, right? Not for his servers, but to get Lee Fogarty out of the Spectrum community forever. We don't want you, Lee. We want rid of you. We want World of Spectrum back. You have destroyed and created a schism in the Spectrum community. Shame on you, Lee. Shame on you. Sorry, quite a lot of bile came out of there, but I'm really cross about this because the Spectrum community is something dear to me. I've been around it since mid-90s when I first went to Usenet on CompSys Sinclair, back when people, all sorts of people, I just remember from those days, Starglider, Damien Yates, all those people who used to post on that wonderful community, and that's gone on into the Spectrum community, which has been, until recently, one of the most friendly retro communities around. The Crap Games competition goes back to CompSys Sinclair. I've been using 8-bit computers since back in the day. I never stopped. Meeting up with a small band of people on Usenet was brilliant. And it's always been friendly, and this last couple of years have been a complete mess because of people like RCL and Fogarty, and we just want rid of them. And hey, we talk about crowdfunding and stuff like that. Let's have a crowdfunder just to pay these bozos off and get them out of our community forever. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling on and being a bit angry. But hey, but I'm hoping in a couple of years' time, all this will be forgotten about. Spectrum community will be back to being great. We won't ever have to hear the name Sinclair, Vega again, Levy, Suzanne Martin, Lee Fogarty and that lot. They can go and work on God knows where. Don't care. Just want rid of them. And then everything can be back to normal and we can just enjoy ourselves with our Spectrums as we have done. I came late. I'm when I first get my Spectrum 89. So I'm a latecomer. But guys who've had their Spectrum back to 82 and, enjoying themselves, and it can just be normal again. Anyway, bye-bye.